America calls it soccer. The rest of the world calls it football. And somehow, both names came from the same country. And it wasn't America. Here's the wild part. The British invented the word soccer. They just stopped using it. In the 1800s, England had two popular sports with almost identical names: association football and rugby football. People needed a way to tell them apart in casual conversation. So they did what the British always do. They abbreviated everything and added a funny suffix. Rugby football became rugger. Association football became ASOC. And then, somehow, inexplicably, that turned into soccer. Yes, soccer is a British slang word, born in England, used across Britain for decades. So why does America still say it while England abandoned it? Here's where it gets interesting. When football started spreading to America in the late 1800s, Americans already had their own sport called football, what the rest of the world calls American football. Helmets, shoulder pads, touchdowns, completely different game. So when association football arrived, America had a problem. You can't call two completely different sports by the same name. That's just chaos. Soccer was the obvious fix. Clean, simple, already existed. Americans adopted it, used it for over a century, and never looked back. Meanwhile, back in England, soccer slowly fell out of fashion. Football became the only word that mattered. The slang got dropped, and by the time the 20th century rolled around, most of the world had locked in on football and never looked back. So the irony? America didn't invent the word soccer. They just kept it, while the people who created it quietly forgot they ever said it. Here's something that makes this even stranger. Countries like Australia, Ireland, New Zealand, and South Africa, they also called it soccer for years, because they also had their own versions of football that came first. Australian rules football, Gaelic football, rugby. The pattern is the same everywhere. If your country already had a sport called football, you needed another word. Soccer was that word. It's only the countries where association football arrived first, with no competition, that locked in on football from the start. So the real question isn't why Americans say soccer. The real question is why everyone else abandoned the word they invented. And the answer? Popularity. Football became the dominant global sport so fast, so completely, that the name just stuck everywhere, except in the places where the word was already taken. So next time someone argues about soccer versus football, you can tell them this: the argument itself is built on a misunderstanding. Both words are correct. Both have history. And the country that gets mocked the most for saying soccer had nothing to do with creating the confusion in the first place. If that little piece of history surprised you,